Out the delicious taste of an ice cold Dr. Pepper. College football, it's a pepper thing. You heard some of the voices there. The New York Giants make a QB change, the first QB change this year for non-injury reasons. They go to Jaxson Dart, they leave Russell Wilson, and someone is opening their heart to Dart over here as CC is doing the
there you go
symbol thingy. Along with Michelle Smallman, Chris Canty, Evan Cohen. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, it's such a good morning, Evan Cohen, Michelle Smallman. So excited the Giants finally did the right thing and switched it over, put Russ on the bench, and gave it to Jaxson Dart. I told y'all in the preseason with the way that he played that I was opening my heart to Dart because I thought the guy had a certain set of skills that the Giants offense could use. And it's clear that they need a spark. They need somebody to be the catalyst. What they were doing week in, week out wasn't good enough. And the franchise finally heard the fans. They looked at those guys in the locker room and they said, you know what? Jaxson Dart gives us a better chance to win football games than Russell Wilson.
Indeed. And he's going to provide a spark. But what about this plan? This big plan we've been hearing about, how he has to hit certain measurables, how they don't want to put him in before he's ready. Feels like all that went out the window because they need to save their jobs, and Russell Wilson is not going to be the person to do it. And even though I'm very excited to see what Jaxson Dart can bring to the table, and ultimately I think that this is the right decision, I am a little worried about him going up against the Chargers in his first start.
Oh, yeah, as you should be, because the Chargers are one of the very best teams in football, and Jim Harbaugh owns rookie quarterbacks 4-0 as the head coach of the Chargers against rookie quarterbacks. As an NFL head coach, he's 8-2, I believe it is. And so, yeah, he dominates rookie quarterbacks. And so there has to be a little bit of concern. But if you're looking at the Giants' offense, if you're looking at their ability to be able to move the ball, sustain drives, and ultimately be able to score points, Russell Wilson doesn't give you the best chance to do that. Russell Wilson doesn't move the way that he once did. Jaxson Dart showed his athleticism throughout the preseason. It was a part of why Brian Daboll thought highly of him and moved up in the draft process to get him, because he reminded him of a guy that he had in Buffalo and Josh Allen. So I think that this offense can unlock other facets because of Jaxson Dart's physical tools. And I'm not saying that that's going to equate to the Giants being able to upset the Chargers, but what I am saying is it should lead to the Giants being able to consistently score points against defenses that are not named the Dallas Cowboys.
So Jaxson Dart now has to do what to save his coaches and his general manager's job? Because they came into the season very much on the hot seat. Now, they have been to the playoffs. I think we should acknowledge that. Like a lot of the coaches we talk about have not been to the playoffs that are on the hot seat. They were a few years ago. Okay. What does he need to do?
Okay, so I'm glad you brought up Brian Daboll going to the playoffs. Who were the key catalysts for the team in 2022 to go to the playoffs?
Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley.
Okay, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. You didn't think that those guys were good for your program moving forward. You moved on from them in successive years. How do those guys look now?
Pretty good. One won a Super Bowl and had an all-time season last year, and the other's 3-0, and looks like he's going to carry the Colts to win that division.
Meanwhile, the Giants just had their third consecutive home opener where they failed to score double digits.
Not great.
Not great. And so I know that there are a lot of folks out there that say, well, Saquon, Daniel Jones, they were never going to be what they were here with what they were now here with the Giants. Well, that's on the head coach and the general manager as to why they don't have the infrastructure in place, why they don't have the team in place to take advantage of what those guys bring to the table. It's an indictment on Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, no matter how you slice it. And so the only way that you can get on the other side of this is by putting the kid in, showing what you can do with your hand-picked quarterback. Because remember, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen inherited Daniel Jones. That's a Dave Gettleman pick, okay? They inherited him. This is their guy of their own choosing who they brought into the program. It's up to them to make sure that this guy shows well enough where the Giants are out of the quarterback business at the top of next year's draft. To me, that's the bar to clear for Jaxson Dart. That's the bar to clear for this regime, to make sure that the New York Giants don't have to entertain taking yet another quarterback at the top of next year's draft.
So you think that will be enough to save their jobs, even if the overall team record is not good, because we know that their schedule is absolutely brutal. But if at the end of the season the record is not good, but Jaxson Dart looks like he's the answer at the quarterback position, that's enough to save Dable and Shane?
Yeah, I think it'll be enough. Remember, Eli Manning in his rookie year wasn't good, right? They were 5-4 when they switched from Kurt Warner to Eli. Eli went 1-6 the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. But everybody knew ultimately that Eli was going to be the guy. And after that season, that's when the winning started. Peyton Manning wasn't good his rookie year, threw 28 interceptions. Okay, so I don't know that it needs to translate into the team having a definitive amount of wins. I think it ultimately is going to be determined by the eye test. Do we have a quarterback? Do we know that this is going to be our guy? And that's the thing that Jaxson Dart has got to go out there and prove. And Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are dependent on it in order to save their jobs, because how they've handled the quarterback situation is clunky, to say the least. They literally just lit $10 million on fire by benching Russell Wilson after 3 games.
We'll get to that. I want to get back to what you said about Dart. He has to pass the eye test. He has to look good. Okay, so let's say he looks good. Does that make them keep Brian Daboll and Joe Shane? Or does that get him excited to attract a great coach because you have a young, good-looking quarterback? Good-looking on the – I mean, he's good-looking in general, but I mean good-looking on the field. Like that, because if you think about this, why did Ben Johnson go to Chicago? Because he believed in Caleb Williams, okay? So he's the hottest candidate out there. He believes in Caleb Williams. They got the guy that everyone wanted because they had the quarterback. If Jaxson Dart looks good, I don't know who that next head coaching candidate is that you're like, I got to have that guy. But if that guy is out there and this young man looks good, 2 things could happen. So you have to choose which one you think is more likely. Either Daboll stays because he looks good, or the Maras and the Tishes look at it, the owners of the team, and say, you know, we can get whoever that is because we got this guy now. What happens?
Oh, I think they stay with Brian Daboll.
Okay.
Yeah. This is his guy. He developed him. If Jaxson Dart is playing well, Brian Daboll stays around because he's an offensive-minded coach. That's what makes this a little bit different than Chicago, right? Matt Eberflus was a defensive-minded head coach. Caleb Williams did not look good in his rookie year. They wanted to get somebody to get him on track. If Jaxson Dart is already on track, if he's trending in the right direction, then all of a sudden the Giants fans can feel good about Brian Daboll's plan to develop him. But their plan for the quarterback position this offseason doesn't make sense. What they did, signing Russell Wilson, spending that money, signing Jameis Winston as a free agent as well, it just didn't make sense. And now it makes less sense after you bench Russ after 3 games, because if you were going to do that, then why couldn't have Jameis Winston been your pace car? Totally. Why did you even need to bring Russell Wilson into your organization? That just doesn't make any sense. So, but we're here now. The New York Giants have given Jaxson Dart an opportunity to be the starter for the majority of the games of this season. You're burning the boats. You're not going back. Jaxson Dart will remain the starter for the rest of the season. Yes. Yes.
I mean,
yes.
It would have to be so bad.
Yes.
I'm not even saying
right?
They can't. What,
Bryce Young?
What are you going back to?
Well, Jameis probably at that point.
Right, but, well, I was going to say Dave Canales might have had more job security, but it is Carolina, so you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. But I would think with this specific regime, they know that Jaxson Dart is the only path forward for them.
Because that was Dave Canales' first year.
I don't know if that really matters in Carolina.
That's a great point.
But so barring injury,
yes,
he's starting 14
He might have had
games.
a little more leeway.
Yes.
Barring injury, you think Jaxson Dart is starting 14 games no matter what?
Yes.
The next 5 games are impossible when you look at, outside of New Orleans.
The Saints, yeah.
Well, I mean, they have the Chargers, they have the Saints, they have the Eagles on Thursday Night Football, they have the Broncos, and they have the Eagles again.
Yeah, I think 3 of their next 5 opponents have 3-0 records.
I mean, it's going to be very difficult. Now, the other side of this is, while we are not overly surprised, and I got it wrong, I thought they would go to Jameis before Jaxson Dart because of the plan that you brought up. But while you're not overly surprised that Dart was named the starter, I think we're surprised that Russ is still on the team. And we're not suggesting that Russ should lose his job. It was more so there's personalities, there's larger than life. Cam Newton was the first one to say this. Let me give him credit on this when he was with the Patriots, and they cut him when he was the starter of the year.